Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story? I am a woman who is a Zimbabwean woman, and I have been married so many times. These men that I have gotten myself married to, unfortunately, they have passed away. Let me begin my story. When I was still back in our village where I grew up in, I was someone who was born with a spiritual gift. I would see when evil people from the village would try to enter into my grandmother's compound with their evil charms, like witch doctors, witches. Whenever they would come into my grandmother's compound, instantly I would wake up. And when I would wake up, those people from the villages that were witches, they would run away. I don't know if I can say my gift was stolen or if my gift was changed so that I can become a devil worshipper. I feel like I am a devil worshipper. That is what happened to me. I was in grade 5. Most of the people here, if you were to ask them what they were doing when they were in grade 5, they can't even remember, but not me. As for me, I remember very well what I was doing when I was in grade 5. Amongst all of these women that would come wanting to harm my grandmother, there was one in our village. This woman, she was part of the program because during those days, there was food, United Nations food, that was being donated in our village. So the food was stored at her home because she and my mother, they were both bookkeepers for the village, and they used to write the names of all the people that were being affected by HIV and AIDS. So United Nations was helping out those families that had relatives that were being affected by that type of a disease back in those days. So people did not even know that she was a witch. She was fighting with my grandmother a lot because my grandmother, since she was also the bookkeeper, they were fighting a lot because this woman, the reason as to why she was fighting with my grandmother, it was because she used to add the names of her relatives from far off villages. So when the food would be donated by the United Nations to our village, her relatives will come and collect those foodstuff, and then they will sell the food at a higher price, and they would even take double. So my grandmother knew about this, and they were fighting a lot. My grandmother was also a Christian woman, so she prayed a lot, and she was hated by the village witches for that. I knew what she was doing. I knew very well that she was a witch, but I did allow her to enter into my grandmother's compound one night. The night when I allowed her into my grandmother's compound, this was what had happened in the afternoon. She had given me food and money. I woke up very late because of some of the terrible dreams that I used to have. When I woke up, I saw that the time was already gone, so I started running to school. In order for me to be able to arrive to school in time, I did not even cook or prepare anything, just took my uniform, wore the uniform, then I started running. So I had to use this other shortcut going through the forest, because if you could use the main road, you would travel for many kilometers going to school, and I was going to find the school gates already closed, and that was when I met her. When I met her, I was shocked and I panicked because she was standing right there in front of me in the middle of the forest. I saw that she was holding a wooden plate, and inside that wooden plate there was soft porridge as well as beans. She said that she wanted to give me some food to eat because she could see that I did not have anything to eat at school. I took it and she offered me money. We found a place on top of a rock where we sat down, and she said, "Eat, my child, eat before you go to school." She then offered me the money and she said, "You can buy whatever that you want." Indeed, I bought whatever that I wanted, and I could not go to school with all the things that we had bought at the shops. So throughout the morning, we were in that forest as she was telling me a lot of stuff. She said, "This money that I have given to you, please allow me to do what I want. Promise me that tonight you're going to allow me to play with your grandmother." She said that she was going to come in the evening to play a game with my grandmother that is called Rure Rure. So I said it is fine with the money that she had promised me. She said each and every night when you allow me to play with your grandmother, then I will continue giving you money. So I said it is okay. I then arrived back home with the food that I had. My grandmother did not even ask me where I had gotten the food from. Later in the evening, that was when I heard the voice of a woman that was calling me. When I went outside, I saw it was there. It was her with other women and 3 men that were standing outside. They were all holding burning spears, but they had familiar faces. She and another man, they were from the same village. The other 2 men, they were from another village. She spoke with me and she said, dear friend, do you remember that in the morning I gave you my money, my food, and you promised me that you will do something from me? Can you allow me to enter into your grandmother's compound so that I can play with your grandmother? Then tomorrow I will give you more money and more food. I then allowed her to enter into the compound. They went straight into my grandmother's bedroom and they bewitched her. I was still young. I thought that they were playing with her. When she woke up the next morning, my grandmother had a stroke. That is how my grandmother passed away. When my grandmother passed away, since my mother had died of HIV, so back in those days, there was that stigma. People thought that if your parent had died because of HIV, then you are also going to spread to them HIV. There was no one in the village who wanted to get close to me. So this woman was the only one whom I started staying with, but she was using me. And since I had a gift, that was why she brought me so close to her. She saw that I had the gift to be able to speak with the guardian spirits, whether we like it or not. Each and every person here, we all have our guardian spirits, whether evil, whether good, but they are the spirits that protects us, whether you call them your angels or ancestors, but each and every living person has that spirit that follows them around. So when I was young, I had that gift to be able to speak with those guardian spirits, to trick them so that those witches from the villages can enter into that person's life, and then that person can be attacked spiritually. That is why she was keeping me at her home, and I had no choice because there was nowhere I could go to since I was an orphan. So this woman, she did not want to see me doing or lifting heavy things. She always said that she wanted to take good care of me, and each and every evening when we would go to bed, she would give me some food which she will say, eat this food in your bedroom. So I would eat a light meal before we would have gone to bed, and then later on I would finish off with the food that she used to give me and say, eat this food alone. So after I would have eaten the food, when I would be fast asleep, then I would see her. She will say, daughter, oh daughter, there you are. There is a place where I want you to accompany me. And when we would go there, I would find out that maybe it is a neighbor's home, someone's home from another village. And then I will start to speak with the guardian spirits that would be standing guard at the gate of that compound. I will speak with these spiritual beings and I will tell them that me and the owner of the house, we are very good friends and I want to play with them. Then the guardian will allow me entrance. So these women, the witches, they will be hiding behind my back such that the guardian spirit won't notice that it has let the witches into the compound. And that is what was happening when I was growing up. I was being used by the witches from our village. Then there was this other day when I was busy washing my clothes. So I used to do a lot of piece jobs in the village. Everyone knew that I was a desperate orphan. For $1, I would clean someone's home, go and fetch firewood, fetch water, only for $1. So there was this other woman, she had recently given birth. So she said that she wanted me to come to her compound so that I can fetch firewood for her, clean for her. And after I was done, that was when I said I was going to wash her clothes by the river, since we did not have any running water. I then went to the river. When I was busy washing by the river, that was when I met a woman by that river. She was so beautiful. So when I was looking at her, I said, this woman, she is from the city. Then we started talking. I spoke with her and I said, who are you? And she said, I have to ask you the same thing. With all of this beauty, what are you doing in this village? Don't you know that you can be somewhere in this life, somewhere that is good, and you are very attractive? This woman, when I was looking at her, she was so beautiful. Immediately, she transformed herself, and I knew that this was not an ordinary human, but it was a mermaid. She became a snake, and then she went underneath the water. When this snake came back, I saw that the snake was holding a plate, and inside that plate there was a fish. And then she told me that I was supposed to eat the fish that she had brought for me, and I had to eat it raw. So I took that white dinner plate from her, and then I started eating. After that, that was when she said, you have to throw it into the water. This woman then told me that I was going to be given a mission. This mission I was given when I was still there at the river. The woman said that she had already blessed me, and indeed I was already blessed. All that I have to do was to perform the mission, and the mission is to destroy as many marriages as I can whilst I am working as a maid. She told me that along the way, when I will be returning back to that woman's compound, the woman who had given me a piece job, I was going to find a handbag. I was supposed to pick it up and hide it somewhere else. Later in the evening, I was supposed to come and take it back. Indeed, as I was walking back to the village, I found that there was a handbag that was just lying in the middle of the road. I took it and I hid it somewhere else. So this handbag that I have, it regularly tells me what am I supposed to do. Any mission that will be given to me by the mermaids, they speak to me through that handbag that was given to me by the mermaid when I was still very young back in the village. Besides, I really wanted to leave the village because I was tired of staying in the village, being used by the elderly women who were witches in the villages, because all that they were doing was bewitching people for nothing, yet they were 10 times poor. I was tired of that life, especially when we bewitched this other young boy. He had passed his secondary school exams, and they said, this boy, if he moves to the city, then he is going to think that he's so special. So they bewitched him. To this very day, he is a madman simply because he had passed his secondary school exams. That is why they bewitched him. So I did not want to do this anymore. So that woman that I met, that was the spiritual being who became a snake, is the one that gave me the blessings. Any man that I want, I can get that man. But after sleeping with the man in time, you will die. I have been given the powers to destroy relationships. So in that handbag, that is where my topologies that I use as well, they live in that handbag. I was given the mission. I was told that there was a man in that same village who was going to bring me to the city. This man, I was supposed to go and seduce him, even though he was married. I went and I seduced him. I found him. He was in the mountains, and I started undressing myself. He looked at me and he knew that I wanted to make love to him. He took me into the bushes and we slept together. And then I told him that I wanted to become his wife. He said it is okay, but he could not chase his first wife. We started staying together, and I was showing the first wife flames, for I was a possessed woman. I started sleeping with my husband's younger brother, who got arrested later on after I had seduced him, and making sure that I manipulate him spiritually until voices told him to poison his brother's elder wife. And by then we were in the city. I was promising him that if he murders his brother's first wife, then I was going to become his wife. When we were in the city, I was told by the mermaids that the man that had brought me to the city, his mission on earth was done and he was supposed to die. So when I was staying with my first husband in the city, I would cook for him and some food and mix with some charms. So these charms made this man to stop praying. He started drinking alcohol. He became an alcoholic, and I gave him charms to make sure that he can chase after prostitutes. There was one prostitute. One night when they were busy drinking beer, he started to fight with another man over this prostitute until he got stabbed to death during a fight over a prostitute. By then, he was no longer going to church. He was a heavy drunkard, and he was stabbed and he died fighting for a prostitute. I got married again and again and again. So after that man that had brought me from the village had passed away, the task was to get married again and again whilst I was destroying other women's marriages. The last man that I dated and I got married to, he ended up dying. This is how I bewitched him and how I knew him. I was working for his wife at one of the flea markets, but he was being mistreated by the wife. So the woman said that she did not trust her maid. If only she knew that she could not even trust me, for I was a snake that she had taken from the forest, and she had placed that snake inside of her household. If only she could have known that you can never have peace in your home when you have a demon-possessed woman. I made that man to dump his wife, and I was treating him with such kindness. I only started to reveal my true colors after we had broken up. That was when he saw that he had made the biggest mistake of his life. When I was working for the wife, I quickly realized that this woman, she has the spirit of the Jezebel, because the Jezebel spirit is the one that makes you to always fight against your husband. I also have that spirit of the Jezebel, but there was no way that these two demons, the demon that was possessing his wife as well as the demon that was possessing me, could fight, for they had one mission: for the marriage to end. When I started staying with her, I made sure that I seduced the husband. Whenever I would find out that he is lonely, I treated him with respect, but he did not know that I also had the Jezebel spirit, just like those ladies that used, that is a bleaching cream that is called Carolite, for it invites the spirits of the Jezebel. And this spirit of Jezebel, sometimes it can even be used to seduce a man, because the spirit of Jezebel, it is a two-sided spirit. Sometimes it can be stubborn, filled with pride, but then there are times when this Jezebel spirit can make the woman that it possesses to become a humble woman, so that she can get whatever that she wants from the men that she will be seducing. Whenever my madam boss was never around, I will be kneeling in front of her husband, showing him love until we started sleeping together. When I was sleeping with him, there were times when I would see a mermaid. A mermaid suddenly would appear in the room where we would be making love. I don't know where exactly I got possessed by this mermaid spirit, but as a woman who usually attends so many mermaid ceremonies, I think one of those mermaid marine spirit dinners, when we were honoring the mermaid spirits, that is when I got possessed by the mermaid spirit. So this mermaid would come in the bedroom when I'll be sleeping with that man, and then it will start to touch itself as well. When I'll be sleeping with that man, the mermaid will appear. Later on, it will disappear, until one day the mermaid came to me. It was in the afternoon, in broad daylight. She came to me whilst I was fast asleep. She woke me up and she told me that she wanted my help, for she had the desire to sleep with a human being. She had never slept with a human being before. Therefore, she wanted to possess me during sexual intercourse so that she can sleep with that man and enjoy his flesh. And I said, "How do I assist you?" She told me that she was going to give me a neck chain. This mermaid gave me a necklace. This necklace is the one that I was supposed to use whenever I would be making love to my then husband. She gave me the necklace, and this necklace, I was always supposed to keep it in the dark during the day and bring it out only at night. After the vision had appeared, definitely I saw that on top of my dressing table there was a necklace with a small beautiful emerald, a green emerald. It was there, and I knew that this was the necklace that she spoke about. So she said, "Always keep it hidden, and it is going to make me possess your body. Please wear it whenever you are about to make love to him." Whenever I'll be making love to my husband, I will tell my husband, whilst I'll be on top of him, I will tell him to look at me directly into my eyes. Then I will start to speak in a language that I can't even remember, but this mermaid, she trained me how to use that language. My husband would enter into a state where I would hypnotize him, and then I would see the mermaid appearing in the room. She will come and enter my body, but this is how she entered my body. If you touch me on my back, there is a place where there is a lump, as if I was once hurt there. So that is the place where the mermaid would enter, and then it would enter my body and possess me totally. Then I will be sleeping with my husband, but it will be the mermaid that will be enjoying the sex. So there are other challenges. Having sexual relationships with spiritual beings, it is a no-no, because it will bring you bad luck as well as some diseases that cannot be cured so easily. So my husband, because of the too much sex that he was getting from the mermaid through me, then he started to get sick. I made sure when my husband got sick that I sold as much assets as I could before he passed away, claiming that I was using it to get him cured. He suffered, my husband, from kidney failure, and he died. My husband, by the time that he died, he left nothing for his kids and the house. I sold a lot of stuff. This is what I did. We borrowed a lot of money from the bank, but I forced him to borrow that money. My husband was so sick in the final moments of his life. I made him to believe that I wanted to take him to India so that he can receive proper medical care. But I would bring papers from the bank that he was supposed to sign of me taking loan from the bank, and I would lie to him that these papers, they are the ones that will allow me to take you to India. So sign them. Yet he was signing papers from the bank. That is what I did, Brother Nashi. And it all began when I became a village witch. Maybe I could have become a pastor with the things that I used to see when I was growing up, because I had a good spiritual gift that made me to chase away evil people that would come to attack my grandmother. Maybe right now I could have become a traditional healer helping other people, but my spiritual gift was made into something evil, more like a devil worshipper. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister right there. That was the translation of that message. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us talk about that issue in the comment section.